we are going to be looking at dilemmas and discussions. I know that from the research that Ali has been doing that teachers find it particularly difficult running discussions when it's about dilemmas, how we organise the discussion. And it's got a really nice flow chart of 5 different steps as teachers and educators we can think about. We decide on the topic and we think about what actually we're going to get the students to engage in. And then when we consider setting the task, one of the bits of advice which is really powerful is that we need to make sure that the students have got sufficient subject knowledge and understanding about the topic to be able to actually engage in the material in an intelligent way and talk about it. From deciding about what it is and setting the task, the advice then is that we think about how we form the groups. But actually, as teachers, we can preempt who's going to work with who. There are 4 key ways that we can consider it. There's random, where we can randomise it and just put groups together by allocating students' numbers. There's friendship groups, which are often the default, but actually not always the best way for grouping students. We can think about homogeneous groups, where we could put students together who are the same gender, who've got the same first language, or there's heterogeneous groups, or actually we could mix them for a reason. And I think that dilemma discussion going is thinking about who are actually pairing with who in terms of the groups. And as Ali said, the groups can be of different sizes depending on the purpose and the activity, but it's preempting that as we go forward. The next bit of advice then from the project is that we prepare the discussion, and as John said, he's gone into great detail about how we can do that, establishing the ground rules. And as John said, coming from a positive perspective is really sage advice, which will pay off. And then finally, it's our role as educators, as teachers, as the discussions are taking place, what do we do? So as John said, we can keep an eye on the time and give them time limits, but we can also go around and support and challenge the groups. We can see who's on task, if anybody's dominating. I think one of the key things actually is, as we go around, is to ask questions and challenge them and make them think, and to step back and let them engage in that dilemma discussion and formulate their own opinions and not actually input any of our ideas or any of our answers, but actually let them see that by discussing with each other they can learn a lot. That's something that's reflected very much in the research that I'm doing at the minute, which is about oral interactions in the classroom. And the students are saying one of the things that helps them learn a lot is actually when they discuss ideas with their peers and the teachers don't give them answers, but actually ask them questions that challenge and make them think. So particularly when we're working with these dilemmas, it's when they think that they're coming to an opinion, we can actually ask a question that challenges them and moves that further forward. The key thing here is to get the students to engage in the dilemma and start basing their ideas on this evidence that John's been talking about, and see how this cognitive conflict improves their thinking skills and improves them as scientifically literate citizens. Have you actually used any of these group discussion methods with, and how did they go? Did you have to adapt them for your students? So I'm just going to give you a little bit of time. Then it would be good to share some group discussion methods that you use that work particularly well.
So thank you everybody, and see you in the next one.
Thanks, Ali. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody.